Hello, testing it out. I tested it. Got some music going on. Got a different setup tonight. Hello. Let me turn on some electronic music. People are always changing. They're always changing stuff. All right, let's see. Music. Electronic. Genre. Synthwave. That's right. That's right. Some synthwave. The 80s vibe going on. Hope everybody's doing good. Hello. Looks like Eva is here. Eva is here on 2 different channels. Testing. Yes. Hello. I've got a not complicated, but different setup tonight. I'm going to have to remember to look at this camera, which is right here. And the chat is right here. And then the computer that controls the stream is right there. All right. And then what we have here is we have a overhead camera. So you guys are gonna have to tell me. Hold on, I need to, is there any way I can change this right quick? Display brightness, and then I want to never auto lock it because I never want it to turn off ever again until I tell it to. All right, here we go. There we go. Hello, Ethel. How's it going? My aunts are here. My aunts are here. All right, so as you guys can probably see, we've got some stuff going on. I'm going to resist the temptation to take my shirt off. Actually, I do need to, well, you know what? This shirt might get messed up. I guess that's all there is to it. I've been labeling prints. So I guess you can see this. Yes, you can see this. We're going to have 2 different areas today. We've got 2 different stations. We've got a station over here. And so we can do 2 different kind of operations at once. I'm going to be walking all around the studio today. So first of all, hello. First of all, hello. I hope everybody's having a good week. I'm having a pretty good week. I really am. I'm having a pretty good week. The only thing, if I hesitate to even bring up a complaint because my week's been really good. But the only thing is that I tweaked my old man back earlier trying to set the stream up, and it wasn't anything. I was actually just reaching up like this, gently reaching up to move a camera, and a shooting pain went around my ribs. And so I immediately went and I looked up some stretches on YouTube. Eva, I'm glad you got your print. So you liked it? Cool. You took it out, looked at it. The frame should be there. The frame was shipped separately. The frame should be there. This place always, you know what they do? They always do this. And it's fine because they always come through, but they always make a shipping label like maybe 2 weeks before they actually ship the thing. So I get a notification saying that my frame shipped, and then it usually just sits there waiting for FedEx to accept the package for like 2 weeks, but it always comes, and it is about 2 weeks. I think that they're pretty busy, and their frames are nice, and they're really pretty reasonable as far as the prices go. So anyway, I guess, you know, you can't have everything, so you gotta wait a couple weeks when you order from them. Anyway, that's my long story about frames. Oh yeah, I know it's not, I know you're not in a hurry or anything, but just wanted to let you know. So hopefully you took it out of the tube and checked it out, like it. By the way, for anybody else who is interested, I'll just show those off real quick. Okay, first of all, let me just stop and act like maybe somebody that's watching right now has never seen the screen before. Lately, what I've been doing is I've been doing limited edition screen prints. Serigraphs is the fancy name for them. I like the name. I like the sound of that. I don't usually like to be fancy, but I just for some reason like that. Can you guys hear me okay? Just let me know. I've got my mic actually sitting on here because if I put it in my shirt, unless I'm wearing a really low cut halter top or a tube top, my neck beard scrapes up against the mic, and so I started putting it here. Let me know how it sounds. And if it sounds crappy, I can't do anything about it really, unless you want me to go put on my tube top. Anyways, serigraphs, screen prints. But actually what I do first is I marble the paper, which is floating ink on water and then dipping the paper in there and doing all kinds of different patterns. So this is a series of 45, was a series of 45. No, still is a series of 45, even though I only have like 40 of them left. But they're all different colors. This is the one that has already been produced, the Fix Your Life with Little Cake series. Each one's different. I won't go through showing all of them, but you'll see that there's several different kinds, several different ones. Can you see this? You can't see this, can you? All right. Shit. What's up with this camera, dude? All right, there we go. I guess I'll have to put them right here. Yeah, so there's several different kinds, several different colors, colorways, stuff like that. Go to the website if you'd like to check those out. Go to my website and you'll be able to see all 45 of those, and you'll be able to buy whatever's left. But once they're gone, they're gone. The screens have already been destroyed. Well, not destroyed, but they've already been reclaimed for this project. This is the new project that we're working on tonight. Similar system of putting them together. Now I'm like all paranoid. Yeah, like I'm like, how did this camera get so off? Hold on a second. That's better, right? Now you can see everything. You can see my whole torso, all of my different shapes. Okay, so this project is many different screens, several different layers that I'm putting on them after the paper's been marbled. This is a series of 20. And so I wouldn't say struggled at all, but I've been doing some experimentation with some like transparent ink on this and doing like subtle changes in the layers. In other words, let me show you what I mean. I guess you can, if you'll direct your camera to this, or your attention to this camera, you'll see that some of these, like they have a couple different layers. You can tell the layers by the colors, right? So there is a bit of a value. I'm gonna stay away from the word problem because it's not really a problem, but there's some value tweaks I want to do. So in other words, this is not really popping off the back as much as I'd like it. Some of these are like the highlights are too different from the background. So what I've been doing is I've been trying to figure out how to mix really very transparent colors, and so I'm able to just like make small differences by layering on top. So anyway, all of these are marked in a certain way. This deal here means lighten midtones. So we're gonna mix some ink first. That's what we're gonna do first, is we're gonna mix some ink and we're gonna put some layers down on these for these mid-tone spots, and we're gonna see if we can lighten these up, because what I want to do, actually maybe I won't lighten them all up, but what needs to happen is either this needs to lighten up or this part around here. I have another screen that produces this part, needs to darken. So there needs to be more contrast between this subject and what's behind it. And so like, I've got to concentrate on one part at a time, otherwise I'll lose my mind. So that's what I'm going to do at the moment with these few. And then, we'll adjust other stuff. So that's what's going on. I've got this sticky notes system going on. So here is the screen. The screen we're going to be using. And I need to mix some ink. So let me move some stuff around. Let's see. So I will start with, so I've got some greens, a lot of greens, and I need to lighten all these greens and blues. Blue, we've got a gray here. This one is probably light enough, but I need to do the outside. So I might put that in a different pile. Help me remember what the deal was with that one. Think you need light on the dark ones to make it pop. I'm not exactly sure what you mean. So I think maybe, do you mean did I say dark? I meant lighten. Yeah, it's the green stickers, lighten mids. That's what I meant. This value is going to get lighter. Either this has to get lighter or the outside has to get darker. So this stands off of this a little bit. And then after that, I'm going to worry about this shape, these shapes. And then I've got more screens to go on top of this. I've got a couple of halftones and stuff, but that's for later. You know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to start out with seeing how this fluorescent does to lighten this up. And there are no rules. I don't want to hear anything about any kind of effing rules. All right. I'm going to take this. I think I'm going to use some of this. Use some of this lighter green. Yeah, I've got some highlights. This is just I'm lightening the midtones, and then I've got actually a couple more highlight screens. My main purpose with this pass for these is to separate this outside area from this inner area, which means either make this darker or this lighter. It's a contrast thing. And it's also just a me screwing around thing, trying to figure out. I'm trying to stay away from methods, right? Which is kind of anti what I'm used to. Because I want all these to be kind of different. I want to keep experimenting. I want to keep things loose. I don't want to get locked up in perfectionism, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so I'm just trying to keep it loose. All right. So I am going to, these fluorescents are already transparent, pretty transparent. So I don't think I really need to do anything. I don't think I need to do anything yeah, we're just going to see how we start out, because it's, I'm still learning, and some of these colors go on really transparent. Some of them go on really thick and crazy. Look at that. That's really cool, isn't it? I love it. I am going to need plenty of rags. And I'm going to mix. I'm going to get some of this stuff out of my way. The fluorescent will work? Yeah. Cool. I think it will. I think it will. Yeah. But what I usually do is I'll do like you know what? Enough talking. Let me do a couple things. to make sure everything is visible. I mean, you're probably not going to be able to see through the screen too well, but this is just the nature of the beast. By the way, this is, I don't think any professional screen printer would ever tell you to do this like this, but this is a whole different thing. I'm not mass producing these, you know, I'm like doing something different than mass production, definitely. I kind of like it when the registration's a little bit off sometimes, but time takes a second to line them up. Look at that bright green, I love it. I don't know if you guys can see it as well in the camera, but it's super bright. It's pretty cool. See how it see, I mean, it not only brightened it, which was our mission, but it also cut, like, really popped this off of what was around it a lot more. So that's kind of the and it's still a little bit see-through. You see how you can see the dots underneath? Not bad. I'm gonna have to put these on the drying rack. All right, so what other ones would look cool green? Can you see these? You can kind of see them. I mean, this is the best I can do. You know what? This is gonna look awesome fluorescent green. Usually got a little stopper. This is also not how you're really supposed to squeegee stuff. But I'm not here to really teach the proper way to make screen print. I'm just here for you guys to hang out. What led me to create these particular prints? Oh. I gotta figure out a way to I gotta fix that. I think I might have moved that poster. I gotta figure out a way to do to make sure I don't screw this up while I'm doing it. These particular prints, I did this. Are you talking about the prints in general? Well, I'll just tell the story of all of it. I mean, I always really liked gig posters, and when I was younger, and still now, I mean, I really like punk rock and metal and stuff, rock art posters, and so, I mean, like you probably have seen in other streams where I've got them like everywhere. Yeah, the registration's a little off, but I don't care. That looks cool. Yeah, that green pops, man. So, you know, I'm a digital painter. I've been a digital painter for quite a few years now. And so I thought, why not try to bring some traditional stuff? Traditional meaning get my hands dirty again with something. And screen printing is how a lot of those cool posters were done back in the, I mean, back in the day, that's how they do gig posters, you know? Like a band would there are different ways it would happen. I mean, like local bands would just Xerox their own gig posters. They would make gig posters and hang them up everywhere, small little flyers and stuff. And then, you know, it became a little bit more of an art form where there were artists in cities that would work for local clubs. And if a band was coming to the club, they would do a flyer for the gig. And then, like, you know, some of them were doing really cool shit. So it just kind of became a thing, you know? It blends two things that I love, illustration and music. So that's kind of where the idea kind of came from. I saw somebody doing marbling a few years ago somewhere, and they were doing it in a different context. They were doing hats, and it was really cool, and I loved it, so I looked into how to do that. And so then this all just kind of developed from that. Like, the idea that I wanted to do something, I wanted to, like, when you're doing digital art, you're producing stuff, you're producing paintings, of course, and you are able to sell prints of your work and do all kinds of different stuff. But one thing you don't have is you don't have like an original that you did hand done. That original is like a one-of-a-kind thing, which is kind of cool, you know? So I thought, take my digital art, bring in my love of screen printing and gig posters, mash it up, figure out what I can come up with, and then, you know, make each one different. Do small runs and make each one different, and just make them special, you know? And that's kind of where it came from. The paintings that a lot of these come from are just paintings, and then a lot of times I'll add the wording to it, you know, to make it more like a flyer. I probably will at some point maybe even do something that looks even more like a gig poster. I just haven't developed the concept yet. You know, I don't want it to necessarily want it to be, I mean, I would like to do a gig poster for people, bands, you know. Some bands still do them. In fact, I could probably show you guys something cool that I just received from an Australian artist. 3 pieces of Queens of the Stone Age posters that are really freaking cool. And they're not hanging on a wall yet, so I can pick them up and... Okay, so I think we really are doing the what's the word? We're completing the mission here by lightening these pieces. You see what I'm saying now? Another cool thing about this is that it lightens the crowd, the heads in the crowd. And so getting some cool looks here. I mean, maybe it doesn't necessarily 100% read like the values are all correct and stuff, but who cares about correct, you know? It's cool looking. I don't even know the meaning of the word correct. All right, so let's see what happens. Let's see what happens if we add a little bit of blue. Sam the Junk. Yeah, well, I mean, Sam the Junk is my graphic novel. Thank you, Eva, for teeing me up to talk about all my stuff. Yeah, so like Sam the Junk is my graphic novel. I'm working on the 2nd book right now. And Sam is in a band. The main character, she's a musician. Can't really say she's in a band because she's actually picked out of her band. So that's part of the beginning of the story. But I'm just mixing this up on the screen here. See, with this you got to be careful because if you let ink sit in here too long, it plugs the screen up. But if you wash it off, then it's kind of a pain in the butt because then you have water in your screen and you got to make sure it's super dry. But I guess that's just how you got to do it. This isn't a mass production style thing, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, Sam, she's in a band called Wow Super Fun. And it's a heavy punk band. I don't know if I told you, but I'm writing a soundtrack for the book. It probably will not be out for a while, but that song that's in the first book, she's written song lyrics, and that's an actual song that exists. So yeah, you're right. And actually for the first book, the Indiegogo for the first book, I sent out some flyers. They were digital prints because this is a lot. So I thought about doing some stuff though. I thought about doing some limited editions for the next book and screen printing the covers. I think that's probably something I will do, but those will be like, you know, very limited because I can't just make 1,000 of those. I'll lose my mind. Yeah, that's the thing. The difference between those gig posters and this, what I'm doing is that those gig posters were, I mean, I'm not going to say they were mass produced, but they would make 500 of them or whatever, right? And so, still limited, still very limited, especially when you're like an internationally known artist or you're doing something for a band like that's a huge band. You know, 500 ain't really a lot. They sell out quick, and you know, that's pretty cool. I don't know if this is light enough to do the trick, but we're gonna try it. That's a cool color though. I don't know if these cameras are doing it justice. There's only so much I can do though. It's 7:30. Okay, cool. We're doing good on time. You know what? I'm just going to take a chance and do this one. So like, it's been a couple weeks now, but I saw this movie recently. It was a werewolf movie called Blackout. And it's a really small movie. It's a really indie movie. And I don't even know if you can find it. Like I just found it on Amazon Prime one night. And I'm kind of a sucker for werewolf movies. And so like most things, it gets me thinking about way too deeply about stuff, right? That's kind of what I do. And so then I go off on little tangents and little missions to learn more about the subject. But like werewolves I mean, I like horror movies a lot, but werewolves in particular have always kind of fascinated me because they're a tragic figure, you know? Like, you think about other monsters and stuff. I mean, yes, there are some of them are tragic, like like King Kong, stuff like that, but werewolves are always like this tragic figure. Even like the first movie that was made, which I think there was an earlier movie made, but The Wolfman is the first one that most people remember. That, like, what is the 30s? With Lon Chaney Jr., The Wolfman. And it was kind of like he was cursed, right? Bitten by a werewolf and cursed. And it's like, you know, it's just not quite the same as a vampire that kind of becomes like a murderer. The werewolf kind of becomes like a murderer, but yeah, that's brighter, but I think it's still gonna have to lighten up some. That's pretty crazy looking. I like it. Am I boring you guys with the werewolf talk? Let's see. 3 prints of a cool shot of each character of Sam the Jump. Of Wow Super Fun, yeah, that would be cool. The second book is actually called Wow Super Fun. It's named after her band. So I'm gonna have to lighten this up. This is kind of defeating the purpose of trying to make something lighter. I have to add back some green here. I think I have some fluorescent yellow. I might add some fluorescent yellow too. What do you guys think I mean, like every horror movie is playing off of fears in some way, shape, or form. Like, you know, like that movie Squirm, right? Speaking of ancient movies, I mean, why was that scary? It's scary because worms are gross, and worms crawling into your body are gross, right? So it's like this deep fear, along with many other kinds of stuff. Monster movies, you know, especially I saw one recently. It had spiders in it, and it was like, you know, obviously there's a reason why a spider horror movie is like successful, because like people are freaked out by spiders. But the werewolf, what's crazy about the werewolf is that it is a myth that is like kind of pops up in almost every culture independently. The Squirm is an oldie, yeah. That's actually, I think we went and saw that at the drive-thru when I was little. I don't know why it just popped into my head as like an example. So most of these movie types kind of play on fears, especially horror movies. And so I was thinking, like, what is the fear that it plays on, and why is that myth so, like, why does it pop up everywhere? I think the first myth, like, werewolves are lycanthropes, right? And that's named after this king, King Lycan, which was like a I think he was a Greek or a Roman king during the time of the gods, like the Zeus and stuff, right? And so there was a myth of him who Zeus cursed him to become a wolf, to become a werewolf, because he fed human flesh to the gods. I guess that's not cool, but you don't do that. I don't know why he did it. I don't know why, but Zeus punished him. And that's King Lycan was his name, so that's where the name. But like, why is it scary? Why do you guys think it's scary? What do you think is scary about the werewolf? I mean, yeah, I know it's a monster with claws that can shred you up and stuff, but what is the horror element of the werewolf? Why is the protagonist a tragic character? I mean, I have my thoughts, but I don't want to talk this whole time. Let's see if anybody else has ideas. We had an old reel movie we used to watch in the yard on the side of the house or on a huge movie screen with neighborhood kids. Oh, you had like an old reel-to-reel movie thing? Was that when I was alive, or was that like before I was alive? Damn, I think I'm out of fluorescent yellow. So obviously I will not be using fluorescent yellow. Here's some yellow. Yellow. Getting a little crazy here. This is not sure how well it's gonna work, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna effing do it. This is a hard thing to hit because you don't want to make it too light, because I still have 2 more screens to put on top of this that have to be lighter. When I was a youngin'. From what the theories say, and from what the reason why I always liked werewolves, or was always fascinated by it, for one thing, werewolves are cool. They're cool looking, right? So as a kid who likes cool looking shit, that was one thing that drew me to it. But it's kind of like this thing of like civilization, pretty much. It's nature versus civilization, you know? I mean, people are animals. We have instincts, right? Just like animals do. And we have base instincts. We have uncivilized things about us, you know? People murder each other. That is, you could say that's a unreasonable thing to do, right? Well, maybe not, but I don't know. I'm not really trying to call out murder in particular, but it's like lust and rage. These things are much more animal than human, aren't they? Or what you would think of. And so it's like the fear of losing control and giving into those really base instincts is what makes the werewolf scary, I think. So it's like, so that's why it's a tragic figure, because he's cursed to like live out these animal instincts. It's like back in the day, like when they were doing, like when they were burning people at the stake witches, they actually were doing werewolves too. They were accusing people of being werewolves as well in a lot of cases. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, this green is going on lighter. They're lighter than I thought it would, which is a good thing, because that means that I'm on the right track here. The werewolf thing, a man turns into another creature that is semi-uncontrollable or too uncontrollable. Yeah, Yeah, agree. I agree. It's like that's what it is. It's like losing control, our fear of losing control, our fear of like, like just like sometimes I don't know, maybe it's I don't know. Is it a dude thing? I'm not sure. I don't like to really think about things like that. Because women get angry too. Trust me, I've seen angry women. Um, so it's not just a man thing, although, men are definitely more violent overall. You know how many people are probably in jail? Not necessarily because they've been evil their whole lives, but because they lost control for long enough to, like, got enraged for long enough to kill somebody. So it's really a pretty scary thing, you know what I mean? The fact you may have to face something that is 99% dangerous and you can't hide from, because it will, yeah. Yeah, I think it's just like, because a lot of times they can't remember being a werewolf. So I think that it's got something to do with that, like losing control. I don't know, being a drunk, maybe. That's that movie Blackout that I saw recently was like, it was kind of like that. Like he was kind of a alcoholic, and so it was a question the whole time of whether, like, is this dude just blacking out? That's why it's called Blackout. Is this dude just blacking out, or is he like actually turning into a freaking werewolf? So it's pretty cool. You have to face something dangerous. Yeah, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? Do you mean like when you have to go fight a werewolf, or and you can't run or hide from because it will find you? Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. So it's like this monster that you can't get away from because it's actually you. Yeah, I get that. These are getting kind of crazy, like when they're off register. All right, let's we've got one more. And for this one, I think I'm going to switch to, I'm going to do something crazy right now. Watch me now. Watch me now. Yeah, so it's pretty, I don't know. I just always like, I think it's a lot to do with werewolves are cool. I mean, wolves are cool. Wolves that are shaped like people are freaking cool. Sharp teeth, pretty cool. Like, I mean, werewolf movies, right? Like, I hardly ever miss a werewolf movie. Even though I don't know why, but a lot of them don't really get super popular, you know? They're not like vampire movies. Maybe it's because werewolves aren't like sexy or something. I don't know. So there's been plenty of werewolf movies, right? Let me see. Well, of course, there's the Wolfman. There is, oh, this is something else cool that I didn't know. I mean, the werewolf myth is pretty old. I mean, it goes back like the Navajo had a myth of like somebody doing something immoral and being cursed to turn into, like, they were called skinwalkers, turn into something else. Maybe not wolves, but oftentimes wolves. Cool. Ethel's in now. So what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. American Werewolf in London, of course. Everybody. Well, you guys name some, because I don't want to name them all. I can name them all night. What's y'all's favorite werewolf movie? I take it Ethel wanted to get in so she could type favorites. Oh, by the way, anybody else that's in the chat, please feel free to chime in, talk, and hang out. All are welcome. It's a pretty chill thing. And we're talking about werewolves tonight, I guess. And we're doing some screen printing. And it's getting crazy. It's getting kind of crazy. Taking some chances. Some of these screens are easier to do this with than others. It's like a trick. You usually got to figure out a trick, like a certain spot that you can really use as the spot that, like, where it's lined up. Like I said, even though I don't care that much if it's off a little bit, but I want a variety. I don't want them all to be off. All right, so let's see what some fluorescent pink does. I think it's going to be a little crazy. This is also probably not something that's recommended. Having two different colors of ink on your screen at once. But nobody's the boss of me. That's pretty cool. I think I'm going to have to lighten that a little more, even more. Or, you know what? This is a good candidate to darken. This is a good candidate to darken the back. Okay, so... I don't have a darken mid sticker, so I'm going to have to... Give me a second. I need to do a color-coded thing. This is like, I have such a terrible memory that I have to stop what I'm doing and do things like this because I just don't even... I don't trust my memory. It sucks. Like, I think that, like, if I don't do this right now, I'll forget. Okay, so I'm going to call this Darken. I'm just going to call it the Halo because it's kind of like the halo around here is what I mean. So blue is going to mean Darken Halo. The Underworld movies were awesome. Yeah, they were awesome. I think I might have missed the very last one, but yes, those movies were awesome. Here, I got to change this away from something that's... So like this one, I like this color, so I'm not going to change it, but I am going to darken around the edges. That makes sense. Werewolf less dark than vamps. Don't know what that means. Maybe you mean less evil, like less evil look seeming. Yeah, because they're like I said, they're kind of like, you feel sorry for them in a way, right? I mean, they got bit by, I don't know. I guess vampires, you know, bite you too, but those are just different. For one thing, they're not in control of their faculties, so it's like they're possessed by this other thing, right? And then, yeah, they're usually just a dude with a plaid shirt on, and then suddenly they're a werewolf. All right, so Darken Halo is this blue one. And let's see, do we need any more that are going to be pink? Maybe you guys can help me. I'm going to pick a couple of these that might look cool with pink mids. And then you guys help me decide which ones. I think this might be one. This is already pink. But actually, I need to lighten this one, I think. Or no? Lighten front. Oh, okay. That needs something. I don't know if it needs pink. That one I'm going to save for a little while. This is already kind of pink. I think this would look really awesome with hot pink. We're not going to go crazy with the hot pink. I think I'm only going to do like maybe 2 more with that pink. Yeah, the sticky notes. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I did this last time with the ghosts, and it worked out pretty well. Because it's like, I've got like I've got like 6 different screens, and I'm not putting every screen on every one, and so I really just have to kind of like do a layer or two, and then assess again and be like, what does this need now? So these sticky notes are helpful. Silver, yeah, if I had metallic silver, I would do that. I'm still trying to find a silver that actually goes on. I had silver, and I used the whole thing trying to get one thing that looked good, and I just didn't think any of it looked good. It's like, it's really thin. So I think it would look really good on black. Probably look good on black. So what are you talking about white? I don't think it going white on these midtones would be very good. Would be a great idea. I mean, I could do transparent white to bring it up, like maybe a shade or two, but as I said, we still have this. This has to be the lightest, and then there's actually another highlight layer that has to be even lighter than that. So white is the lightest you can get. So we got to go at least like 2 steps darker on that, if that makes sense. So here are the ones we're gonna do. We're gonna do 2 of the 4 of these, okay? And you guys can help me decide. Let me see if you can even see me. I don't know. I'm running out of room here, so I'll just have to show them to you. This is 1. 2. 3. And 4. We're going to do 2 of these hot pink, okay? I'll show you again. We got 1. Actually, I might be doing these 2 in the wrong order. 2. 3. And 4. Add white. Yeah, white does work, especially with really transparent ones. Yeah. The only problem with white is it dulls colors. It desaturates them. So, like if I added white to this pink, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad color, but it would come out more like, well, not like that, but it would come out milkier. Anyways, I've got some transparency over here too that we haven't done yet, but we've still got some time. All right, 1, 2, 3, or 4. If anybody has any 1 and 2 hot pink, so 1 and 2. We've got 1 vote for 1, 1 vote for 2. I think the idea of this one would be really good, hot pink. And this one. Probably because they're so far away from what they are right now. Any more votes? We got any more votes? 1. I'm probably giving you these in a different order every time, and I'm sorry. 2. 3, I think. And 4. This one, you gotta admit, this one's gonna look fucking awesome with pink on it. I'm pretty sure that's gonna get pink, regardless of how this democratic process pans out. All right, so I think we'll do 1 that Eva wanted and 1 that I wanted. Okay, we're gonna do these 2. This one's gonna look really cool pink. Yeah, since hot pink wasn't on them yet. Gotcha. We're gonna do 1 of them. 1 of the 2. We might end up doing more, but that's all I'm committing to. Right? I just want to stay away from, repeating myself too much in these. Not that that's a good thing that would happen, but I also want to show you guys these transparent, this idea of transparency, because it's kind of cool. I mean, of course, you can understand the concept of transparency, but you could take any color and add some of this transparent medium to it, and it's cool because it's hard. It's a little bit difficult to explain. Look at that. It's like some yeah, that's crazy. Get some craziness. All right, and then this one. I think this is the other one. All right, and I think I know what we'll do with the greens. We're gonna do some. I think we're gonna do some purple stuff. Maybe. All right. Um, what was I? Where was I? Oh yeah, you guys didn't say your where. Anybody got any favorite werewolf movies? Shit, I'm probably messing this all up by doing that. Looks good. Yeah, I think that hot thing looks really cool, and it's also cool because it's sometimes it's surprising just how it goes on there and how it plays with the stuff underneath it. It does some surprising stuff. Like, I think that's another thing that I kind of love about this is that just the fact that you're working with pigments, real pigments and stuff. There's always going to be a percentage or an aspect that's kind of out of your control. It's just like left up to chance, right? Because there's so many factors, like what's underneath of it, how transparent is the ink itself, you know, what ends up going on top of it. It's just like different stuff, which is, you know, it's basic color theory, but it's also just like look different because you're dealing with physical medium. All right, that one's pretty cool. See how that's like more purple because it was on top of blue? I mean, obviously red and blue, but it's got more of a purple purple feeling to it. It also has something to do with the stuff around it too, probably. Okay, so that was a pink. That's pink. Now we're gonna do I'm gonna do like a transparent purple, and I've got one I think at least partially mixed, but I've got to pick this stuff up first. It's like I was thinking about like law. You know, I mean, like almost all laws, if you think about it. I mean, of course, they were, you know, in the Bible and everything, but all laws are really, at least the basic ones, not really like, I don't know, some of the newer laws, but the basic ones like don't steal, don't murder, don't steal somebody's husband or wife, don't take your neighbor's shit. You know, all this stuff is like stuff that you think of, you know, that's like primitive behavior. All that stuff is inside of us, you know, taking your neighbor's shit because you feel like you don't have enough, or letting lust get away with you from you, and like lusting after somebody else's partner or whatever, right? And then of course murder, which is like rage, or, you know, sometimes it's premeditated or whatever, but it's like, it's not good. It's not a good idea. Okay, I'm telling you right now, don't murder people. So it's just kind of like, that's our animal side. It's our baser nature. So I guess a lot of those werewolf stories, I mean, werewolf stories mostly, here's another thing that's kind of weird. It's like, you know, wolves, you can't say wolves are evil, right? Wolves are just being wolves. They're just like, yeah, they murder stuff, but they do it for food, right? They chase down deer and eat them. They're not really, you know, using malice when they go wild and do that stuff, right? It's kind of weird. It's like nature. I just find you know, nature you can't really describe nature as evil, even though there's some pretty crazy shit in nature, like that fungus. Is it a fungus that like infects ants and makes them go up to, like, climb up to the highest tree so they can explode and send spores everywhere? I mean, that don't even sound like a real thing. Is that even a real thing? I might be crazy. I might have just dreamt that. So like, there are some things that were just like, man, that's fucked up for that to exist in the world. But it still isn't evil. You know? Mosquitoes. I don't really see much of a use of mosquitoes. They just suck. But that's just like what they do, right? They eat blood. Anyway. Um, show ancestral stuff. How should I interpret that? Don't know. I don't know how I should interpret that. Is it a typo? Is it something that I talked about 10 minutes ago and I already don't remember because my brain doesn't do it? A wolf mind mixed with a human mind, yeah. Oh, there's another, like if I'm recommending movies, there's another pretty good one called Ginger Snaps. Have you guys ever seen that one? It's about like two sisters. Oh shit, I'm messing up my camera. That's a pretty good one. Two sisters in high school. Oh, and then one that came out recently, The Wolf of Snow Hollow. That's a really good one. The Wolf of Snow Hollow. Look it up. The message before was too long. Yeah. All right, what was I going to do? Oh, purple. Translucent purple. Let's see if I can find the purple that's kind of already kind of purple. There's blue. Thought I made some yesterday. That's kind of purple, but is that translucent? No. All right, well, we're just going to mix some. Enough of this shit. Let me move this for a sec. Oh, cool. Ginger snaps on the waffle. Well, add Wolf of Snow Hollow, too. Yeah, it's like I think that movies, especially, I don't know, like movies always have to have something kind of fantastic about them, right? Like a werewolf movie, it's like that's not something that exists, but it's usually the ones that last are the ones that have something more to them, like you care about the characters or they have something special about them, right? So like I've been, if any of my friends are watching, they're probably gonna lose their minds because I've been talking about this movie since I saw it. Twisters, right? The sequel to Twister. Like I watched that movie with some friends a couple weeks ago. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're not a fan of the comedy werewolf movies that show ancestry, like where werewolves are like. Where the werewolfness is passed down from generation to generation, like they're an ancient type of people. Yeah, I got you. I mean, Teen Wolf was the one that I think of first, and you know, I was the right age for that movie, so I did like that movie. I did watch it. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, that movie Twisters, right? Like, so I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's like. You know, it's like a sequel to that movie Twister, so obviously it's like kind of a disaster movie. There are tornadoes in it. Spoiler alert. Yeah, so I won't say anything about it, like to give anything away, but what I was taken by was like just that I liked it, and usually I don't just like run out and go see disaster movies. By the way, let me just pause for a minute. This is transparent medium, so what this does is, you know, you mix this in with heavy pigment and it'll make it transparent, but it's like look at that, it's like crazy, it's like still really in there, the pigment's still really thick in there. So what was good about what I liked about the movie and why I'm still thinking about it is because it must be because they don't really make movies a lot like this anymore, but it's like you care about the characters are people that you know, and it's like they have these flaws that are kind of universal, you know? Like stories are, you know, I mean, we use them for entertainment a lot and stuff, but originally they were kind of like lessons, right? They were to pass down knowledge. They were to make us like kind of remind us that we're all the same, I guess, in some ways, right? So like that's why movies that I like movies a lot that are like that have some kind of it doesn't even have to be some like out of this world message or anything. It's like just a story about people, you know? Yeah, the Twisters movie about tornadoes. Yeah. So it's like it is like there are tornadoes in it and stuff, but it's not all about spectacle, you know? Like, I don't know. I just liked it. But that's like, that's why they can keep making werewolf movies. I think. Because there's something about the concept of the Wolfman. It's kind of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? Same concept. Where a person loses control over themselves and they let their base instincts take over. I don't know if you guys are having as much fun seeing these colors as me, but I'm having fun. Yeah, they make and not even necessarily like heroes, like heroes in that like the hero's journey, the old idea of the hero's journey, which is pretty much every story since the beginning of time or whatever. Joseph Campbell wrote this really long book about it, but it's not necessarily that you're big and strong and tough. It's that you have a challenge, and even though you might be freaked out about it, you face it. That's really it. I mean, most of our stories are about conflict in some way or another, either internal or external. Probably both, usually. So, like, usually if you look, it's like there's an external, like in this case, in Twisters, or like let's do another movie so I don't spoil anything. Fighting their inner turmoil, right? Like the internal struggle and external struggle. There's usually, like, especially with a movie, I mean, if you don't want to fall asleep during it, there's got to be some external conflict going on, something that they're fighting externally. But then usually, if it's not just going to be a movie about spectacle, about the things going on out in the world, you also have to make the characters have something about them that makes you kind of care about them. And it doesn't necessarily even have to mean that they're exactly like you. Not at all. They just have to kind of maybe feel like somebody you could know. Like they, and it really doesn't take all that much to make, I mean, we really want to connect with people. It doesn't take that much. Anyway, that's why I like Twisters, and that's why I think I like the werewolf idea more than other ones. Because just that idea of having to overcome your more your baser nature, your more primitive nature, and kind of being a victim of the animal side of yourself in some ways, like jealousy is a good one. I mean, it's like jealousy is something that just like happens. People have to work really hard to not get jealous, because it's like, I mean, dogs get jealous, this is pretty much an animal instinct. I'm not saying it's right to be jealous. I'm just saying that it's not the same as other things. Like, well, I don't know. I was going to say animals don't steal. They do kind of. They don't really steal because they don't even understand the concept of ownership. They're like, oh, there's a hot dog. I'll eat that hot dog. Being a wolf and a human there had to be a struggle. Yeah. Man, I'm trying to get this lined up a little better. Okay. So this is a transparent, very transparent purple, or at least if I mixed it right, it should be. So it's just put a layer on top of the colors that's already there, and it should just turn them a little bit purple. I don't think this is light enough, and the reason why is because I'm scared to put white in it. If I put white in it, white is the opposite of transparent. It's like opaque. Yeah, right. Everybody's got something they're struggling with. Yeah, that didn't change that much. That's too transparent, probably. Like if I'll have to do another. I mean, it looks pretty cool. I think it looks different than it did before, but all right. That's okay. That's okay. We're gonna add some white to it. That gives us permission to add some white to it and kill do two things at once. Here, we're gonna add some more opacity to it, and we're also gonna lighten it with just adding some white. Yeah, the struggle is the connection. Yeah, it's like, you know, like we can feel kind of sometimes, especially when we have problems and stuff, we can feel like we're alone. You know, and it just, I don't know, there's something that makes you feel better sometimes to know that you aren't the only one that's got it doesn't even have to be a particular problem. I mean, I'm speaking for myself here, you know. Maybe some people have to really like very specifically identify with somebody, but yeah, it's about conflict, it's about struggle, it's about, I mean, my favorite kind of stories are redemption stories. Maybe possibly because I fucked up so many times in my life. No, I don't know. I like redemption stories where people are like, you know, struggling with things in the past and then they have to work to make them right. It's just a cool thing. I just like that kind of story. All right, so this is a lot lighter, and hopefully it gets some of the transparency, and it's not gonna. But whatever. Yeah. There aren't any rules. All right. See how this does. So if you were like, okay, here's some questions. I've got some questions. Ugh. Well, that came out. See, do you see what I mean? Like, this is a good example. Well, for one thing, I didn't mix it up enough, so it's got streaks in it. And it's not terrible or anything. I think when it dries, it'll be a little better. And it's also off a little bit. But do you see what I mean about how when I added white, it made the purple more chalky? That's what I was trying to say before, is like, when you lighten stuff, of course, you want to add white if you lighten stuff, but it also sucks the color out of it. A little bit, but anyway, that's this is one of those ones that I might come back later and be like, that looks freaking cool. But I will say it isn't what I expected to find when I pulled the screen up. I think if I did something real crazy, saturated for the highlights, it might look a little better. But you know what's crazy about this is it's like just so happens to like kind of sing with this, right? Same cues that go from like blue to whitish. That's pretty crazy. All right, what else can we do? Let me mix this up. Let me see if I can make this into some. This transparent medium makes this into kind of like marshmallow fluff. All right, let's see if we got any more that deserve purple. This one. Yes, please. I think this is part of the problem, is that I'm like smearing the ink over top of it. This isn't always great to do. because you're actually, as you're smearing it through there, as you're flooding the screen, you're also sometimes pushing ink through the holes, and then, which doesn't matter that much unless you're moving the poster around too. So that's pretty cool. The registration's off as hell, but yeah. These are getting some interesting looks to them tonight. All right, let's clean up this purple. Just streaks. It's kind of hard to explain. It's kind of difficult to get good streaks. Like you know what I've tried to do, and I'm going to try to get better at this. Actually, I think there's got to be a way to do it. But I was thinking about maybe like seeing if I could do gradients on the screen itself, like paint little bits of it, like different colors. You know what I mean? Like that, and then push it all through. But the problem is, it doesn't really go straight down when you push the ink through the screen. But I think I'll probably try to figure out a method for that sooner or later. We can try it. We can try it on one. I don't know if I want to try these mediums though. What can we do? What can we do? We're almost well, we're not really super out of time, but we'll try to do what I just talked about once as an experiment. And what we'll do, I think what we'll do is we'll figure out one of the dark ones, or one of the ones that need a darker like halo around it. Yeah, right. That's definitely a one squeegee pass thing. And you have to, and you can't, if you swirl it around on top of the ink or on top of the holes, it just gets all mixed up. So there's got to be a way to do it though. Let me try to make a decision here. Like this one, if you look at this one closely, it's really cool how this is darker around the edges. So like I want to make sure that that is on a lot of them where it's visibly darker. This is one with streaks in it, see? All right. Yeah, I think I'm feeling like I don't really have a whole lot of time to do the streak experiment. Maybe we'll do that next time. Because I'd have to like make a lot of decisions, and I'm a little bit decisioned out. In other words, I have to figure out a piece of paper. I gotta go find a piece of paper, figure out what screen. I have one. What's nice? I have one last question. If you were going to turn into a were animal, which were animal would you turn into? Like I think in Africa they have. Oh, this is what I wanted to show you. This is kind of what I wanted to go for with that purple, even though I didn't succeed. See how it's like just very subtle? That looks freaking awesome. Are you saying that's nice in a sarcastic way? Like that's nice, like real nice. Is that how you're doing it? All right, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time just deciding things here, so I'm gonna I'm just going to show you guys what we did tonight. And hopefully they're dry enough to not screw each other up. We did this one. We did this, the blue boy. This is a good candidate for darker halo, and that's what I'm going to do. And you know what else it'll do is it'll tighten it up. Okay, changed my mind. We're doing it. We're doing it right now. It's going to be dramatic. It's going to be very dramatic. Not dramatic, but it's gonna bring back the detail that got a little bit lost from the registration being off. You know what? Let's do this right. I'll show you guys how I set up a thing. Here's how I register my screens. I've got this thing up here like this. I think in woodworking they would call this a jig. And so I've got this lined up, so if I line this tape up, then I know that this is exactly in the right spot. So if I bring the screen up, yeah, this one is like backwards. Yeah, there's no way this one's gonna line up, is it? Yeah, maybe it will. All right, here we go. So if you line this up right on top of this, then you know you got it going on. Oh. All right, this is the last thing we're gonna do tonight. Just because I'm curious, I want to see if I can go to bed tonight knowing that I did something cool with this. The nice one is right there, RNB gloves. The one under the blue one. The orange one with dark background is nice. I'll check it out in a second. I'm sorry, I'm getting like tunnel vision about this idea that I have right now. Purple with a little bit of blue and a little teeny tiny bit of black. The tiniest bit of black. I turned into a werewolf right then. The hard thing is the delay in the stream, Eva. So when you say one of those, like I have to, it's like 30 seconds later, and we know how long my brain keeps on the memory. But we'll find them. We'll find the orange one. Orange one, B gloves. Do you mean blue gloves? Is there one with blue gloves? We'll flip through them in a minute. I'm feeling like a crazy person right now. I'm like jumping back and forth. Trying to do something right before the stream. And teeny tiny bit of black. We're gonna see how this works. Maybe a tiny bit more black. All right. Orange boxing gloves, dark background. Okay, we'll check it out. See, that's the one with the blue streaks that looked at like it kind of looked like it was all like for me it was losing a lot of the definition around there. And so I think this kind of brings everything back, right? Like you could just see more detail in it now. God, I'm terrible at this. I have to like look behind me to see whether things are lined up or not, so sorry. All right. Now I can sleep. All right, let's find the one that you were talking about. Orange boxing gloves, dark background. Okay. I just got to wipe this up, otherwise it's going to be destroyed screen tomorrow. All right, there we go. Orange boxing gloves, dark background. This one's orange boxing gloves, dark background. This one is orange boxing gloves, dark background. This one isn't. This is another candidate for darker around the edges that'll really bring this back together. We did these tonight. I'm sorry I'm all over the place. First of all, what I'm showing you are the ones we did tonight. We put darkened or lightened the midtones on these, I think. We darkened some of them and lightened some of them. This one's great. See the ones that are like off register that make you feel like they're out of focus? If I pop another screen on top of that, like I showed you guys, it'll just suck that back in just enough to make it look back together again. Tell you numbers. Okay. Wow, some of these I don't even remember doing some of these. This green on green, it's great. Did I do that? Was that me? Oh, that's fucking awesome right there. Watermelon. Tell you numbers. I guess you're saying that, say the numbers that you can say which one. Number one. This one. Number two. I thought that was the one you were talking about. Yeah, some of these are pretty bitchin'. I think what's cool is that we did it, right? Like we wanted to, or I wanted to lighten these midtones up, and that's what we did. A couple more need another layer on it. This needs another layer, I think. But this is fun. These are fun. Number two, yeah. You go. All right, guys, I got one show and tell thing. One show and tell, and then we're going to call it an evening. finally finished the Haunted Club sandwich. So this is the Haunted Club sandwich. The big reveal. Yeah, so I don't know, we talked about a few different things, but I think it turned out pretty good. I did the teeth jaggedy, and I think you can still tell it's a sandwich. The plate, and I gave it some crazy arms, gave it some rim light, and some hot eyes. Yeah. So that's it. That is the stream tonight. And I'm pretty tired, so I'm gonna go and I'm going to retire for the evening at 8:30 at night. I'm gonna have a glass of Pink Lady Apple Kombucha. And so I don't know if we're going to be in the studio next week or not. I think we might start a new painting, digital painting. But I'll show you guys progress on the Champs, and yeah, that's about it. I mean, I guess I should say subscribe to the channel if you had fun. We do different stuff on here. I should say sign up for my email list if you'd like. The link will be below at some point. Send out emails. If you're interested in any of this stuff, you can find it on my website, which is danjaworski.com or heyweirdkid.com. And that is about it. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Thank you for, you're gonna stream. Thank you for coming. I'm streaming next Thursday. Thursday at 7. Thursdays at 7 o'clock is when I stream. The only time I don't stream is when I don't feel like it.